Hello, welcome. I'm your recovery club, Joel. So welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I wanted to come to you today to just, I usually make my videos kind of early, and then I usually make them in different parts of the city. I'll go to different locations and stuff like that. But I don't know, I was really tired, and this whole week I just recently got out of my wheelchair and started to walk again, and so my legs were just killing me, and it was hard to get around places. So today I'm in my here at the place facility where I'm at Cross Point, and I'm in my room, and I decided, you know what, I couldn't sleep, and I've been I don't know, it's just hard to sleep because of my leg hurting and just other things happening, and I started thinking, I was like, man, you know what, how did I end up? Why am I here, and how did I end up here? And I just started, you get days like that sometimes, and I personally was getting these, where I can't sleep, and just when I get like that, I start thinking like, man, more and more, and I start feeling like my mind starts going more and more, and when it does that, I start my mind starts going back to a place of comfortability. So when my mind does that, I know that it wants to go back to what it's used to, back to quote unquote its normal realm in a sense. And because when my mind starts taking off, it makes me start wanting. It brings back memories of things that I don't want to deal with, things that I don't like to think about, and especially when I'm sleeping, because I get dreams of just different things that have gone on through my life or whatever, and for some reason my dreams get I feel like they're enhanced. You know what I mean? Because I get dreams that I've had for many years, these same type of dreams, but they're like more vivid this time, They're more like in check in reality, and it's almost like I get up and I get freaked out. Sometimes I get scared, and I don't know how to feel about that. And because when I would get them before, I get up, and the only way I knew how to deal with it was to mask that feeling right away with something. And for me, it was using drugs. And, I never, maybe earlier in my addiction, I would mask it with alcohol, but alcohol was never one of my things, you know what I mean? Yeah, I did party, pretty hard back in my early days, but alcohol was just, it wasn't something that I really liked, because I was introduced to alcohol at a very young age, having an alcoholic and drug addict father, you know what I mean? So it was something that I knew at a very early age that I didn't want to do. I wasn't going to do this right here because I knew what the results were as a young kid. And so, when I get these nights like this that are restless, luckily, through the grace of God, that I'm able today, in my recovery, my sobriety, I'm able to recognize those things, and I'm able to deal with them a little bit different. So one of the things that I do to deal with it is making a video, or I'll journal. And so I figured, I didn't want to journal, right now because I'm tired, and I figured, let me just get it out there right now. Right here, right now, point blank, bam, this is how I feel, this is what I'm going through right this instant minute that I'm doing this video. I'm doing this video because I can't sleep because of my dreams, and because my mind is racing in 1,000 different fucking directions, and the only way I know how to master that is by using drugs. And, days like this, sometimes I want to, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know what, F this, I'm out of here, I'm gonna go do this. But I know that there's more at stake for me. I feel like there's more at stake for me now than there was then, even though the things that I feel that are at stake for me now were the freaking same things that were at stake for me back then, you know what I mean? Which is, really my health, my well-being, and my family, and the consequences of me going to jail or going to use and not coming back, you know what I mean? So they've always been there, but I don't know if it's just a time that I've been doing it so long, or that I'm just older and I'm more wiser, or I attend more meetings, I hear different stories, or whatever it is. I have no idea, to be honest with you, but what I do know is that when I engage in something positive like this, to me this is positive, and when I engage in something like that, it calms me down. It calms me down. It grounds my mind in a sense, for me to do things differently, for me to say things, to myself in my mind or out loud, and this is how I deal with it. And then I can, relax and basically it's like singing myself a lullaby in a sense to go to sleep, or putting myself in a car and driving myself around until I fell asleep, just like you would do a baby or whatever. So that's what I do when I'm feeling like this. I'll get up and I'll do something like this that I call productive, or I'll start reading if I can. Excuse me. I'll start reading if I can. I'll pick up the Bible and just randomly open it somewhere. And usually it's weird because when I just randomly open up a book and start reading it at that particular moment, that particular time, it always lands on something that resonates with me at that particular moment. But today, since I was just really tired, I said, you know what? I'm not going to read. I'm just going to do this quick video and just throw this out there. Put whatever's on my mind, I'm just going to give it out there. Maybe, hopefully, someone's listening to me today, right now, at this, it's what, 1:30 in the morning or some crap like that. And I should be in bed because I got an appointment at 8 o'clock that I got to be at in the morning. And it's just, I don't know. I'm grateful that I'm able to recognize those things, that I can do something like this, and I don't have to, I don't have to be out there right now doing a lick or freaking spending whatever money I got in my pocket to go get something that's going to be done in 15 freaking minutes, and then I gotta look for the next lick or whatever, you know what I mean? And I don't have to do that because I can just focus myself into doing this video, speaking my mind, get my story out there for how I feel right this minute, because I'm agitated, I'm restless, and I can't crash out, and then my mind starts going, because it's trying to just talk myself into going out and doing something stupid. And I've mentioned this in my previous videos and stuff like that, that I don't give you something that I don't experience. I don't give you something that I've never done. I always talk about things that I either live through myself, I'm going through myself, any type of experiences that I had in my past, sobriety and drug addiction,
and or something that I know personally, that someone's told me something that I know for sure is true, and how they dealt with their addiction, or something like my father's addiction, stuff like that. So I don't give out bullshit stories in a sense. You know, everything that I talk about is truth. And you know, I was listening to a fella talk, and I like listening to other people's podcasts and get intake and feedback from other people that I listen to their stories, and then, you know, I kind of incorporate their stories to see how my life fits into their story. And I'm listening to Dr. Mate Gabor, and he speaks. This guy's, you know, very, very smart, you know, doctor, and he's dealt with people in addiction, like, for a lot of years. He's written books and does podcasts, and the dude's great. I mean, I love listening to this guy, because this guy makes sense. When I hear this guy's story, he makes sense, because he's an addict too, but he's not an addict like me. My addiction is totally different than his addiction, you know. But if you put his addiction and my addiction on a simulated, say, just for example, just say that there's this picture, right? His picture's here, my picture's there, of our brains, and then I deal with my addiction the way I used to, and he does it the way he would. Then the same receptors on both of these brains are going to be exactly the same in a sense, because now you're masking the feeling that you're trying to, you know, not deal with that addiction. You understand what I'm saying? So this guy's great. So anyway, I'm listening to a story that he's saying, and he's explaining how he talks to this friend of his, who's this great doctor, and, you know, went to graduated from Michigan University that day, something like that. And he asked how many times have they talked about, you know, like, actually being involved with real life addicts, and how they, you know, deal with each other, and how they deal with their addiction, and the whole traumatic experience, and just how they think, and how they went from doing this to that, and just this whole concept of being an addict, and how they dealt with it, and how they, you know, were in there, and the things that they did, and the things that they did while they were addicted, the things that they did to get out of addiction, and that sort of thing. And the doctor told them that they hadn't sat in on not even 1 hour of that type of psychological warfare towards drug addiction in the real state. So it got me to thinking, and I'm like, man, if these doctors are going through school to you know, get these degrees in psychology, and how to deal with addictions, and this and that, and you know, not saying that they're not smart and they don't know what the hell they're doing, because they are. I mean, they're intellectual people, and I mean, I give my hat off to them, because they understand that part of what a body in a human person medically does, and what happens to them and stuff like that, but to actually sit down and listen to somebody's story, and explaining how they feel and what it is they get out of using whatever they're doing in their addiction to make them feel better, to make them, their mind, you know, be in a better place so that they can move on in their life and in their daily routines and that sort of thing is just you know, mind-boggling to me that they don't have that's not part of their curriculum as doctors. You know what I mean? To, you know, sit in on studies or sit in like hours. They should be going to AA or NA meetings or to rehabs and sitting in on these exercises that are in those courses that they're doing it in the treatment centers. Because in the treatment centers, you're going through meetings, you're going through different exercises that you do. You're talking college level exercise. You're not talking something that somebody just came up with. You know, you're not just sitting in a facility doing shit. You know, just sitting there for days to get sober. No, that's not the case. You're sitting there in a facility getting a college education on drug addiction and how it chemically, you know, and how the chemically and how it works in your mind and what it does to your body and all these different things, right? So it's not like a person goes to a rehab and just sits there. So I believe that they should have something where they get at least 200 hours during their course of being a doctor and sitting in on meetings and classroom time in rehabs and that sort of thing, because when you get it straight from the addiction you know, realm, meaning straight from the addict's mouth, when the addict is new to recovery and they just get in there, and then halfway through the recovery, and then when they're done with the treatment center, the scale of how their mind clears up and starts thinking way more clearly than when they first got there. Because I mean, I've been to a couple of rehabs, and I know that when I first got into the rehab, I feel like shit. Number one, I feel like I failed myself. I feel disappointed. I feel like I feel just terrible, because I feel like I number one, let myself down, and number two, let my family down, and you feel like worthless, you know. I mean, it's just a lot of different feelings, but you get angry, you get depressed, and you know, you want to isolate yourself, you don't want to interact, and you're just looking for a reason not to be there, so that you can go out and go do some more shit or whatever the fuck it was that you were doing, right? And so for me, when I heard Dr. Moore talking about this, doctor, and it made me think, like, man, you know, when you are listening to people's stories in those 12-step program meetings and that sort of thing, it's especially when you're listening to the stories of people who have been to multiple rehabs and who have, you know, years of sobriety, but at the same time, you know, people who have 10, 20 years of sobriety that also had 10, 20 years of addiction. I mean, you're talking like you have a freaking bachelor's degree in recovery and addiction, in a sense. Because I know for me, I know now, at my age, I know a whole lot more compared to when I first went to my very first treatment center, which was like in 1988. And, you know, it's, I learned a lot through the years of abuse and through the years of recovery, and I know now I can recognize red flags. I can recognize when something is not right. I know how to set boundaries. I know what is going to keep me happy. I know what's going to keep me in that dark place. I mean, it's a combination of a lot of things, but it's also a discipline, which is kind of weird, but it's a discipline not only to yourself, but a discipline to the program. I call it program. You know, program for me is, in my experience, is the dedication to myself as a human being, to find that inner peace within myself, to say, you know what, I'm tired of expressing my life in this way, because I look back at, when were you the happiest in your life? When did you feel wholeheartedly full, like every void was filled perfectly in a sense, and you could express what you were feeling inside? It radiated and it showed through the things that you were doing in the outside. And for me, was after I went to my second rehab, which was in 2005, and when I was done with that rehab, I can remember clearly staying sober and staying connected to the program in one shape, form, or another, and staying connected to my higher power. Those two things were key for me to stay in that happy and sober, because before I wasn't. And I know that, you know, it's hard to stay there, because the easiest thing to do is to go pick up and use, is to go pick up and do the addictive, compulsive, insane behavior that you were doing, whatever it may be. That's the easy part. I mean, because, and it's easy, you know why? Because it's the most comfortable thing. When you're doing those addictive things, you're doing it because you're comfortable doing it. You're not doing it because, you know, you're afraid or oh my God, you know, no. You are doing this because you're in tune with your inner self. Now you feel like, okay, bam, this is where I need to be. This is making me feel what I need to feel at that particular moment, so that I'm not feeling whatever it is that's fucking me up. And so that's why it's so easy to stay there, and that's why it's so easy to go back. You know, because nobody likes doing things that are hard. Nobody does. You know, if we all could like doing shit that's hard, then, you know, we'd all be fucking sports figures or whatever. You know what I mean? You know, people don't become a professional, you know, pianist, football player, basketball player, whatever, even a doctor. You know, because it's easy. No, those are the hard things to do. And hard things to do demand hard work, demand hard, repetitious work. You're talking day after day after day after day after day after day. So, you know, when you're doing something that is negative, day after day after day after day after day, it becomes easy. When you're using that addictiveness day after day after day after day, it gets comfortable. It gets because you know how to do it. You know how to do it like you're a professional at doing it. And it's just easy. But to stay out of that is a hard thing to do. So you know, people don't like doing hard labor. But if you want to eat, you gotta work, right? And so it's like when I start feeling like this, restless and where I can't sleep and where my mind just starts going in fucking 20 different directions, and the easiest thing for me to do is using, because I know that I like it, I know that it makes me feel good, but at the same token, I know that it's not good for me, I know that it's not good for my body. I know that if I do something and if I go out there to get it and I'm doing legs or I'm doing that, I can get pulled over, I can get, caught and go back to jail like I was before I got here, and, even though you know that all this bad stuff can happen and you keep doing it, that's called insanity, you know what I mean? That's the craziness of it, is that your mind talks you into it. Your mind keeps telling you that, hey, you know what? It's all right. Just one more. Dude, you're not gonna get the comment. And you've done this. How many times have you done it already? You know what I mean? So that's where it gets easy, because you are so used to telling yourself that, your mind is so used to programming, saying that okay, yeah, let's just do it. But the hard part is not to do that. And that reminds me of this guy that I know. I know him, but I don't personally know him. But I guess I personally know, because I've been in these meetings where these guys talking and stuff, and he always says, his name's Greg, and he's an alumni over at Lifetime and Recovery Center, and he'd always, in his meetings, he'd always say, if you do nothing, and guess what? Nothing happens. And that's true. You know what I mean? It's just point blank true. If you do nothing to better yourself, if you do nothing, then guess what? Nothing's going to happen. You're going to stay in that same dark, deep, despaired freaking room, isolated, depressed, pissed off, anxiety, all this bullshit happening at one time, where you're just like uncontrollable, and all you want to do is just use, but you're fucking so unhappy using. You don't like it anymore, and you're just tired of it, but you can't get yourself out. And I'm here to tell you that there's a way. Okay? There's a way, because I know, because I've been there, because I've done that. And by the grace of God, and I'm still sitting here this morning talking to you, I'm clean and sober, man. You know what I mean? I'm clean and sober, and I'm happy that I am. I feel great. Besides my fucking calf being ripped, I got a torn calf, and I've been in a wheelchair for a while, and I just got released to start walking. So man, my body's killing me because I haven't used my legs in a while. And but besides that, I feel great. You know what I mean? Excuse me for yawning, but like I said, I couldn't sleep. That's why I'm doing the video. But yeah, I mean, I feel intellectually freaking like right on. You know what I mean? Because I can think clearly. I know what I want to do. I got these visions in my head of where I want to go with like doing this podcast these visions of doing other things in a sobriety sense and in a sense to help out the addict who still suffers. You know what I mean? I got plans of different things that I want to do and things that I want to, other ideas that I got that I want to take off with, and hopefully I can do those. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to start doing a podcast and start getting just the awareness out to the public, because right now we're in this epidemic of people getting addicted to drugs because of anxieties, because of PTSDs, because of just chaotic shit happening around the world and in rural communities and big cities like the one I live in. I mean, it's like it's like, I just heard the other day that every month there's a 9/11 happening. And what that means is that every month there's however many people died in 9/11, I'm not sure what the number is, but for example, it's just sort of that 3,000 people or 4,000 people who died there. I don't remember what the exact number is, but they got the statistics out that say that every month there's a 9/11 happening in the United States. Can you imagine that? Every month that many people are dying from drug overdose. They're dying from addiction, and that's just addiction in drugs. That's it, drug addiction. That's how many people are dying every month in the United States just through drugs. That's not including alcohol. That's not including prescription drugs. That's not including, whatever other addictions are out there, because people die through other addictions too. You know what I mean? And it's alarming. It's alarming. And we're punishing people who are addicted to drugs, and sending them to jail, sending them to be, we're basically telling them that, you know what, you're in trouble for using drugs, and what we should be doing is helping them, because they have a disease. We're not addressing the disease. We're just addressing the fact that they're doing something illegal because of the disease. And it's overwhelming that we're spending all these thousands of taxpayer dollars on punishing somebody for doing drugs. But we're not doing shit to help them with the disease of drug addiction. You know what I'm saying? And, I got lucky that I got to, earlier this past year, I got thrown in jail for a drug charge. And while I was in jail, I got offered to go to a treatment center. So I accepted it. But I only accepted it because it was going to get me out of jail. And that's the thing that I'm talking about. It's like, okay, they're letting me, I just happen to be lucky that I got that offered to me. I don't know why I got picked. That just happened. And I just attribute that to my higher power looking after me, because there was plenty more people who had the same charge that I did, and they didn't get offered that. I don't know why, but they didn't. They were looking at going to TDC. They were looking at staying in the county for a few more months, and I got out of county from being there for months, and got sent to a treatment center. And why I got chosen, I have no particular idea, because I didn't even request it. I didn't even know there was that they could even do that. And so, out of a whole place where I was at, that was like in the particular unit where I was at, jail, there was like maybe 80 other guys in that same little area where I was at. So out of 80 people, I was the only one chosen to go to the treatment center. Now, how the hell does that work? I have no idea. I don't know if it's just a computer-generated thing or what, but there was people that had the same charges that I did, or even worse, and they were going to jail. They were going to go spend more time in prison or there in the county, and it's just there's a lot of taxpayer dollars used to do that, when you should be using a lot of those taxpayer dollars to make more treatment centers, to send people to the treatment center to get help. You know what I mean? I think that, just imagine, you know, I don't know what the end result would be, but I think it would be a whole lot more helpful to send somebody to a treatment center for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, versus sending them to jail for 90 days, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5, whatever the case is, and re-enter society that way. Because after saying, 60, 90 days in jail, in a treatment center, I'm telling you, your mind is transformed. It really is. And when people get out of the treatment centers like that, and then go to a sober living community, it even betters you. And like right now, that's where I'm at. I'm in a sober living community. And I'm grateful that I'm here, because had I not gone here, had I not got sent to this place and got sent straight out of Bexar County to the street, I would have been using. Or if I would have went straight from Lifetime Treatment Center out into the streets, I would have been using them by now. But because they sent me here, I'm still sober. And I know that there's still more work that I have to do on myself. But being in a thing like this, it's helping me. It's not harming me. Even though I get days like I am, like this, like right now, but at least I know how to deal with it in a positive way. And for me was to get up and start doing this video. Other nights I get up and I start reading the Bible, or I get up and I start reading the big book of AA or the book of NA, and there's other. I'm on a veteran floor because I'm a veteran, and there's other veterans here who are going through the same thing or even worse than I am, and I can go and talk to someone here. We get this. We started this thing that we do here at 8 o'clock every day. If anybody wants to go in and share, then they do. And sometimes it's 2 of us, sometimes it's 8 of us. It just depends. How people are feeling that day and who attends the meeting. But we nonetheless have them here on our own so that we can help each other out. And that's one of the things that you're going to find is that when you engage yourself in a recovery community that does any type of 12-step AA, NA program, I don't care what kind of program it is, but if it's something that has to do with that, and then also being engaged in your higher power on the daily, then those 2 things are freaking key, because they help, and they help you stay mind sharp, you know what I mean, where you know that you need to engage in something, or if something that is thrown at you on the positive like that, it gets your day going in a different direction, versus if you were still in a dark realm or still surrounded by, you know, other users and that sort of thing. So it's like, it helps out, you know what I mean? It keeps you engaged and it keeps you grounded, you know what I mean? So it's a good thing. But I, you know, decided that I wanted to just do this, you know, just out of the blue because, you know, I just couldn't sleep and you know, I'm more calm right now. I feel good. I'm getting sleepy in a sense because, you know, that's what I needed. I needed to calm myself down and get my mind just boom, kind of tunnel visioning my mind, boom, 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 where it's just looking, you know, guided down to where it's just calm versus being way out here sporadically just doing this number. So yeah, I feel good now, you know what I mean? I feel better. I feel like I can just go to sleep now and, you know, wake up and you know, go to my 8 o'clock appointment that I gotta go to in the morning and you know, hey, it's good. It's good to be able to recognize it and to do something like that versus than, you know, being out in the street or going out and knocking on somebody's door to get hit or, you know, doing a lick at, you know, 3, 4 in the morning just to get high, you know what I mean? But it's a blessing that I'm able to recognize and be here to talk about it. But, you know, I always like to, at the end of my videos, kind of get, you know, just a shout out to, and get a couple of these spots that I like to go to, you know, to kind of get me going and stuff like that when I need to, and just to share it with the audience. If anybody's listening who's in the same city that I am. But I also like to give out my email, so if you are having trouble, if you feel like, you know, you need to talk to somebody or if you know somebody who may be struggling with addiction, or if it's you yourself and you know, want to talk and maybe if I can help in any way, shape, or form, I will. And if I can't, I can definitely give you a number or some resources of how and who helped me, and maybe that can be helpful for you too. But again, you got the Esperanza group in downtown San Antonio on the west side. You got the Club 12, which is in the north central side of town. You got the Winners Club in the northwest side of town, and you have the Goliath group in the southeast side of town. All these places, I know people in every single one of these places. They are great people. They won't turn you away. They'll help. If you need help, please go out there, give them a shot, give them a chance. Just listen, sit in on one of these meetings, listen to stories. Maybe it'll resonate to you. Maybe my videos resonate to you. But if you do me a favor, if you please hit that like button, hit the bell, the like button, leave me a comment. I mean, I'd greatly appreciate the support. And I hope maybe I was able to, you know, get into somebody's heart, get into somebody's brain, and maybe you too can join me on the road of, you know, recovery and stay there. And it's a great thing. So like I always say, you know, if nobody hasn't told you they care or if they love you, you know what? I care, I love you. So hey, I'm your recovery plug. And till next time on When the Smoke Clears, we'll see you. Good night.